I hit the wrong button. That is okay. Why is that the thing that popped up there? Okay, there we go. So I thought, since we just finished the last game here, we would do a quick little tier list of the Myst games. And we're just gonna immediately put this in did not play. I'm gonna go through these, I think, in order, despite the fact that they are not in order on here. Obviously, the first game, I feel like, is solid A. It's obviously, it broke a lot of ground on how the game worked. I really enjoyed, just the worlds. It has a lot of sentimental and nostalgic value for me. It was the only one I had played all the way through prior to streaming it. But it had been long enough that, basically none of it was stuff I could remember beyond, like, some of the early puzzles. And it was, still early enough that, we were just getting the first hints of just how bad of a dad Ages is. Ooh. I make no guarantees that I will remember all of the ages, but we will do our best. Okay, Riven. S tier. I loved that game. Even though it was a lot more of a, I want to call it a bottle world. Like, we're only really spending time on Riven and the various islands of Riven beyond Gen's office land and the other world where Catherine went, the name of which I cannot remember, but we'll find out in the next tier list because I'm betting it's going to be in there. It's also the one on the cover. But fantastic game. But you know what? Myst 3. I'm gonna put Myst 3 as the my favorite. Both S tier. Fantastic puzzles, fantastic design. But Myst 3 has Brad Dourif. And he was such a delightful character. Like, that I think really is the game that really solidifies just how horrible a person Ages is. That he, completely is responsible for the situation we find ourselves in Myst 3, where, we have Brad Dourif out for revenge. Understandably so, after Ages, gave his sons enough training to go into the other worlds, but provided them with absolutely zero, moral guidance. So when they tortured this man and cut him off from his family, we were just being, essentially setting things up for his eventual revenge arc, which was entirely deserved. Myst 4, it's got to go on the B tier for me. I really enjoyed it, but I feel like, again, it's, another example of what a horrible person Ages is. But I think it kind of, I was not a huge fan of the dream sequence, mostly because Myst 4 suffers from the same mouse bug that 5 had. So, and that sequence is entirely based around accuracy and where you're clicking, because you have to turn all of the I believe you have to turn all of the it's like a whole bunch of little colored clouds, and you have to turn all of them one color, and it works like I can't remember exactly how it works, but it's like you click one and the ones around it change, I think. Or you have to like click them in sequence, and the jerking mouse made that puzzle almost impossible. Like, the way we got through it is turning the mouse sensitivity down to almost nothing. And I think I even had to drop like the actual DPI, there we go, the DPI of my mouse down to actually have the ability to accurately click in the course of that puzzle. Which is not necessarily the game's fault. I also wasn't a huge fan of it has what I would call a Darth Vader redemption arc for one of Atris's sons, Akinar, which it has the problem of, you know, someone does awful things their whole life and then does one, like, does one good thing at the end and is like celebrated as like, oh, they redeemed themselves, which is bullshit. Like, very, very infrequently do redemption arcs in fiction do something other than that. But it's a BS redemption arc, in my opinion. Like you do one good thing and then you die, and that's it. It's bull. But beyond that, the puzzles were fun. I think there was one that felt a little too obtuse to me. Towards the end of the game. I remember getting stuck on one section pretty hard. But other than that, good solid entry in the series. 5, I have to put on D. We just finished it, and I understand how it got to the point of not being FMV like the rest of the series, but it just took so much away from it. And the puzzles, like we discussed during the credits, were a little monotonous in theming. Like, it was entirely themed around the tablet for the most part. And again, not necessarily the game's design's fault that the mouse movement was bugged, but it did take away from the experience. Especially, you know, if you have so many of the puzzles based around drawing pictures, and to have a bug with the mouse moving, it's not ideal. It also felt like it went by very quickly once we got, like, and that's the other problem with all the puzzles being so closely linked to the tablet, is once we figured out the trick to the tablet, it felt like we flew through the game. Like, the first stream of the game we did was almost entirely like unlocking all of the areas in the hub, essentially. We found access to each of the worlds during the first stream. and then we kind of got stuck. But then once we figured out why I was getting stuck with the tablet, at that, like, we blew through almost the entire rest of the game in one stream. Like, it was just the last half of the last world that we had to take care of today. So I think it's definitely the quickest game we've gotten. Which again, if it was originally intended to just be like part of the Myst Online, that makes sense why it would be shorter, because it was supposed to be one part of a bigger whole. But, you know, considering it's a standalone, it feels short. Alright, let me see if I can't get this to open in the same thing. Yes. Alright. Time to see if I can remember what these are just based on the pictures. Alright, this is essentially Gen's office, which you don't spend much time here. Although it is a really interesting visual design. Like the look of it being like constantly at sunset. It feels very hostile and foreboding. It says a lot about Gen's character just in its visual design before you even actually talk to him. I would put that as a solid B. I will come back to this one because it's not immediately ringing a bell. But Channelwood. Channelwood is, I would say, I like the design of it a lot. It has a lot of sentimental value. Like, I think when I played this with, you know, my family way back in middle school, Channelwood is probably the world I spent the most time in figuring things out for myself. So it has a lot of that level of sentimental value. Yeah. You agree or disagree? I don't know how this is. Okay, let's stick with going in order here. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is the hub world of Myst 3, which I really liked. It was a interesting set of puzzles to unlock the various worlds. I liked how everything interconnected. It was very interesting to explore. I had a lot of, and plus, solve a puzzle, get to spend some time with Brad. It was a good time. Let's see, mechanical, which I believe is from Myst 1. It's the big turning island. I would also put on as a solid B. I think this is the level. It's either this one or the stone ship level from Myst 1 as well, I believe. That absolutely terrified me as a kid. I can't remember which one of these it is. but there's, I believe it is Akinar's room in that level that just almost made me stop playing the game because it was so, like, disturbingly detailed that it had me paranoid that there was someone, like, behind me at all times during that bit. I think Stone Chip also is one of the few levels that we got stuck on during our recent playthrough of Myst. I'm just kind of skipping around as we go here. Dunny, I would have to say, like, I had a good time figuring out how to unlock all of the worlds in Myst 5. Like, there's some interesting puzzles there that were not entirely based around the tablet. It was one of the only areas that wasn't, really. And I had a good time with it. The dream, I have to put at D. It just, like, literally the entire thing is just these colored dots. And it was, you know, it was what it was. Like, it was a puzzle. It was a thing that existed in that game. I don't know what else I can say about it. D for dream, exactly. Myst. Again, like, a lot of sentimental value for me as well. Had, you know, it's probably one of the better, like, hub locations in the series. And it's, like, I don't know, for me, like, it's so, like, each bit of the island is so visually interesting and distinct from each other, despite being such a small location. Like, Jananin, for, you know, as much as I enjoyed that area, it's all a very similarly looking, like, the whole island looks very similar to itself. Like, it's a very cohesive area. Whereas Myst is, like, each area that is a hub, like a portal to the next world, is so distinct from each other that it's more visually interesting, if that makes sense. Riven, S tier. It is, I mean, I think it benefits a lot from almost the entire game taking place in that location. That it's a lot more fleshed out and visually interesting. Like, each island in the world has something going for it. Like, it's enjoyable moving around the whole thing. Okay, speaking of hub areas, this one, I mean, it was 4 islands connected by bridges with some bubbles that took you to each different world in Myst 5. It was quite literally just a hub. There was no puzzles in it at all, beyond, like, the puzzles for this area were completely located within Dunny. And those were like, you get to the next area that takes you into each separate island, and then you can unlock the bridges so you can walk between them. There wasn't anything else to it. And it wasn't like, it was just like 4 islands surrounded by water and trees, and it was dark. It was just very there. It existed. It okay. Spire is, I believe, the place where Cirrus was imprisoned in 4. It wasn't like a bad location, but it was kind of visually not that interesting. It was just like a whole bunch of open space with the little crystal island, and all of his like machinery. And thank you for the follow. Like, there wasn't a lot there. I did enjoy the big the puzzle of like tuning the entire island to gain access to his final area, the laboratory, essentially. That was a lot of fun. But the rest of it was just kind of bland. Tagira, I believe Tagira is where Akinar was imprisoned. I liked this one a lot. The coastal area with the giant fish skeletons, the ship like resting on its butt. I'm gonna say butt, even though I know that the stern. It's resting on the stern. And then the interior, like swamps and plains, and the big lake in the middle with his hut. And then the I'm gonna call it the primate colony, that formed a lot of the final puzzle for that area, was fantastic. Like, as an area, that was one of my favorites in 4. I believe Tomana is Atris's home in 3 and 4. And you only really get to spend time there. Let me just zoom in on it real quick. Yeah. You only really get to spend time there in 4. And as far as like, it was an interesting hub location. That is what that level is. Okay, like, I hadn't zoomed in on it yet, but I was... Like, part of the problem is, like, it's been a hot second since I've played some of these. So thank you for the reminder of which level this was. And yeah, I agree. Oh, let me finish Tomana here. It is, definitely one of the better hub locations. It's interesting visually. There's a lot of fun ways of getting around. And there's a lot of like interesting backstory that you can just glean from looking around. Amateria, I also really liked. The pinball thing is absolutely a highlight in the series. Like, everything about that island is putting that whole puzzle together and then getting the payoff at the end it's fantastic. Idana, I believe, is the level in 3 that has the it's the jungle area that has the very like dark bottom, but my brain is just going to betray me right now. It has like the bird that gets trapped in the pitcher plant. I liked this one. Maybe not quite as much as Amaterasu, but it's a very fun jungle area. I enjoyed the like you had to like there's a puzzle you had to like line up the different lighting to like the light would make the plants extend a bridge. It was good. Oh yeah, I believe when we did that one on stream, I had to look at it, like look that one up. That was, and I think it was the only one. I needed help with one thing on I think Stone Ship as well. And I think there was something in 4 on the island with where Dream is, but not like actually in Dream. Yeah, I think what I ran into as the problem was I think I just had the wrong color marble in the right spot, and I can't remember how that happened, but I think that is what the problem was. Hold on. Okay. Some of these, it's like just the picture is small enough that I can't quite figure out where they are. I'm still not sure where this is, if I'm being honest. I believe Selenitic is where Brad is hanging out in 3. And it's a fun design. I like the whole shielded area. Or is that one Narat? No. I really like this area, I think, if it's the one I'm thinking of. The Rocket Age. Thank you. It has been apparently a hot second. Is Naranian the one that I'm thinking of where Brad is imprisoned in 3? I believe it has to be. Because the visual designs are, yeah. Like color palette wise, they're very similar. I don't know why I'm not remembering much about the Selenitic age in general. Which I'm just gonna not bump it down a notch. Of course, it's a little too wide. I'm looking at Lime. Is there any way I can bump this? Oh, I bet if I, here. What did I just move? I moved nothing? Okay, put me on this. Unlock it. Put me on this. Okay, I'm pretty sure Voltaic is the age that ends with like the puzzle in the like the train cars underground, where you have to listen to the sound to figure out which way you need to go next. And I really liked that one. I hope I'm remembering that correctly, because it has been like a year since we played the first game. Maybe more. But if that's the one I'm thinking of, I'm definitely putting it up in A. I'm starting to think Haven is the one I was thinking of when I put this up here. Because this looks a lot like the hut that I was thinking of. Oh, Tagira is from... It's the snowy area from 5. Got it. There we are. And that one, yeah, it was not bad. It was just pretty simplistic. Okay. This I definitely recognize. I would say definitely I feel like this is definitely my favorite area from 5. It was just very visually striking. The puzzle was interesting. It gave me probably the most difficulty out of the areas. I think the only thing I would complain about is it was like there's in the central part of the observatory on the bottom area, there's a chart that has what looks like coordinates in the like the number system from this game, this series. And it looks like it's going to be important, and I spent a lot of time distracted by that, despite the fact that it had like nothing to do with the puzzle. Tay? I mean, there's not much to do there, but it is a very fun design. I love the big tree city thing it's got going. Serenia, I believe, is the area with all the water in 4. And this is the area, I think, that had the puzzle that I got stuck on. It was a little too obtuse for me. I think it was just like the order you had to adjust the water levels in order to get into like the lab is what I got really hung up on. And I think it was, once I figured that out, it went pretty smoothly. But getting to that point took me forever. Relishan, like, nothing really happened here. It existed, it was at the end of the game, it happened. There's not much to say about it. It was where the credits took place. I liked this area a lot. Beyond the central puzzle here, like adjusting the tubes so you can get into the lab. Maybe there was a hint to it in the like there's a little, it almost looks like a shrine set up on the beach that has a lot of the symbols both inside the lab and on the exterior windows that are on the things you rotate. But if there was a clue to it there, I could not figure out what the clue was. We wound up figuring it out by guess and check, which was fine beyond having to go back and forth constantly. It just wound up being pretty time consuming as a result. And maybe, you know, that's on me for not figuring out what the clue was. But like, fill the basin with rainwater and look at the forest reflecting. Oh, you know, and I think part of that was I figured this whole sequence out before I figured out how to use the tablet. Like, I got that whole, like, I did this, I think this is the first thing I did, because it was the first thing I could really find a thread to start pulling in 5 after unlocking all 4 worlds. Because I could not figure out how to get out of the little frozen cave in the first area. And I couldn't figure out what to do with the telescope in was it Todelmar Mare? And I hadn't even gone into Lacreon yet. But I could figure out the like I was able to guess and check my way into the lab. And that's where I started really getting an idea of what, like, that's, I think, the first place I figured out I could set up fast travel between the main bubble pedestal and a location in the map. But I didn't figure that out until after I'd opened this up through guess and check, essentially. So I was wondering what the purpose of that shrine was, and now I know. This one, it's honestly, I feel almost bad for putting it down here in D, because I liked the visual design of it, but it was such a pain in the ass to get that elevator to work. Specifically, the one you have to raise the little, like, pressure thing up. Like, there's a little canister, you lift it up, Then you leave the tablet on the pressure plate and go stand on the elevator. And when the guy shows up to take the tablet, him standing on the pressure plate raises the elevator. I found like the location you had to drop the tablet on was so precise that it was just a tremendous pain in the ass to get up there. Like, even after I'd figured it out and we had to go back down, and when we tried to go back up, it took forever because I could not find the right place to put the tablet. Like, I knew what I needed to do. I'd already done it, but it was still so time consuming to figure it out. And Rhyme is just not, it's not coming to me where Rhyme is. I feel like it's gotta be. Like, I'm sure once I, hold on. I have the answer to this question. I will just. Oh, okay. It's amazing. I'm looking at like a full picture of the thing. That is way too much background. Okay. Yeah, I'm remembering this one now. Oh, no, I'm not remembering this one now. Okay, this was only in Real Myst, apparently. Which is why I do not remember it. That solves that problem. Having never played Real Myst, that explains why I cannot remember what the fuck it's from. Let's center this a little better. Now that we're back at full zoom. But yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with this. And yeah, these two, like, there's just, not to harp on it, there's just like nothing going on in either location beyond like the end of the game in 5, and then it's just like a hub with 4 islands. But yeah, this I think is a pretty definitive tier list of the ages for me. But it being almost 4, I think what we're gonna do is call it a little early. We'll be back tomorrow with, I believe, some Death Stranding, because there's still a bit more of that game to go.